Welcome everyone. I am a medium. I'm doing these daily horoscopes. I'm getting back on my channel. I had the channel I think since 2014 or 16. I had another channel. I still have the other channel. We just don't put anything on it. Your Indigo Path. And anyway, we used to do daily tarot when I first started this channel and on the other channel. And then since I left YouTube and I'm coming back full time this year, I decided to challenge myself and let's do the daily horoscopes for the next 30 days, not consecutive because I won't be doing the weekends, but for the next 30 days. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how things are doing. And I will let you know today because I have to go where I'm inspired. It's not just the daily tarot. That's the way I'm doing my channel now, wherever I'm inspired, right? Uh, so I'm going to do the daily horoscopes, but then I'm going to do the talk about the deeper thing that's going on with this lunar eclipse that's coming up on the 25th. So if you want to stick around after the horoscopes and watch that, you're welcome to. If not, I'm going to cut it out and put it into a video anyway. And another thing too, I just want to mention, it is not necessary, but it does help me out. But I did want to mention Wendy bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. When I get to go out and get me a Starbucks, I'll put a picture of it, Wendy, for you, and then put it in the community tab here on YouTube. But I want to thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Any little thing helps. It doesn't matter. We're all going through this stuff, so it's much appreciated. Thank you, Wendy, for even doing that. But it's not necessary. Don't think, for you guys, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. It's not necessary. It's just something that's available if you feel so inclined. So thank you, Wendy, for buying me the coffee. I appreciate it. So today, let's talk about, the big thing is the lunar eclipse that I'm going to talk about and the difference between what it is, the way that it's a penumbral. I was trying to like bring it down to earth for you guys. But let's go over the horoscopes really quick. Let's go over what's in the skies right now today. So it looks like we still have that sun and Neptune. And this is all in Pisces, right? So if you look at the chart, let's just say you're a Virgo, okay? If you look at the chart right now, Virgo, what's highlighted and what's really being open to you right now is your, let's see, if that's your first, second, third, fourth. So your second is being highlighted as in you're growing out of some things, right? And then third, fourth, fifth, your sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth house. This is about others and relationship to others. The first six houses are about your inner self. The the seventh, eighth, ninth, those are about others. Those are relationships with others. Those are relationships with the world. Those are relationships. Those are others, how others are mirroring you, basically. Okay. So right now, Virgo, you've got all of this. You're growing out of something here and you're moving into this new energy here. So Virgo, there's some space in your value, in your resources, in your, and some people say the second house is about the way that you make your money. Yes, it is, but it's more than that. It's the value you place on yourself. It's the value that you see with yourself and in other or with others, right? And so it looks like because the south node is there, you're really hi Kathy, you're really like, it's almost like, remember when I said the balloon yesterday, it's like you're getting bigger, you're evolving, you're understanding more, and you're having to like leave the box, or you're going to be moving into your new house, and the old dishwasher can't come and the old washing machine can't come, right? There's things that can't come because they're no longer needed. You've got new things coming, right? And so there's something about your second house, the value you place on yourself, the value you place about how you work in this world, about honoring yourself, there's something that you're shedding. There's something you're transmuting here, right? And so with that, where you're going, like the way that you can see, okay, I'm headed in this direction is, if you look at the chart right now, the transiting chart, you're, like I said, this is your first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Your sixth house is really activated with Pluto, right? And Mars, and it was having the conversation with all of these other planets, right? So your sixth house is being really activated. That means there are some things, there are some fears coming up about your health, about the daily grind, about how you do things. Remember, your value is being evolved here, right? You're getting to see more. Okay. And then your seventh house. So this is a big thing because you can see there's four planets here in this sixth house for you, right? Sorry, seventh house for you. So that's relationships. That's how you're doing relationships, right? Um, are you forming them correctly? Are you attracting the love and the relationships that you want? That's Venus. Are you putting in the work? The work that you want, not the martyrism or the I'm going to save the soul, but what am I getting out of this, right? With Neptune, are you seeing the beauty of all of this? There's something about relationships that's trying to be restructured, trying to get to be understood in a different way, right? And then you have the eighth house. Now, where the seventh house, for those of you that know barely anything about astrology, and that's who I'm sort of helping come up to understand where a lot of us want to be, right? Um, is the eighth house. If you think of the seventh house as marriage and relationships, think of the eighth house as, okay, now we're married. Now we're going to buy property. Now we have a bank account together. Now we're going to, this is other people's money. This is the stronger relationships and bonds and contracts that you have with resources. It's not just money, but money is the way to like show you guys, right? And so this is where you're going. This is your north node. Why do I know that? Because that's where the north node is transiting. That's not your natal north node, but that's where we're all moving to. So for you, Virgo, you're moving to this area. You're having to let go this perspective and embrace this understanding of yourself, and you're moving into the direction of the bigger you, the more evolved you, the different life that you're trying to accomplish. And what is that? The direction we're headed in is what I just said. In you're having to let go. There's fear coming up about the way that you have your health, the way that you have your everyday grind, the way that you have the people around you. That's Pluto, and Pluto brings up the fear. That's why I'm doing this Pluto series, so everybody understands Pluto, because it's a big cycle. And what it is, you may be a little lost, Virgo, because you, especially if you're a Virgo ascending, you might have your sixth house as Aquarius, and Aquarius is already eccentric. So it's the way that you have your everyday life does not look like everybody else. And it's not supposed to. It's the Aquarius house, right? It's supposed to be innovative. It's supposed to look weird. It's supposed to look like it's supposed to look like, oh, I live with my sons and daughters and they're older, but my husband and I have two separate houses. Like something like that. Like it's weird, it's different, it's eccentric, it doesn't look like everything. It doesn't look like the norm, right? And so you're already you could have that understanding of, why do I have to be so weird? Why can't it just be normal? Why could, you could be going through something like that, or some changes like that could be happening, right? And then, because again, you're moving to this eighth house where you're going to go into this ninth house. This ninth house is evolve, is like going through I'm like moving, like I'm going to go through the door. It's like you're going through this door to this new frequency. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. We're going to this new frequency. We have not been here. Pluto has not been at 1 degree and 30 minutes of Aquarius ever since our lifetime. We have not seen that. It hasn't been there forever. Nobody on this earth has seen that, unless you are, 3, 4, 500 years old and we don't know you yet. Otherwise, This is new energy. This is new energy. This has not been in this way ever in our lifetime. This is all new frequency, new energy. And it's really new energy because you've come in, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, it's already been proven. But that's not the point. If you come in again, you're not even the same frequency. You put on a different suit. So you're different in the way that you are with planets, okay? Does that make sense? It's a different frequency. We're all in a different frequency and we're all going to make different hurts because we've come in with a different sort of meat suit. We've come in with a different frequency. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay? So, where you're going through this, and I'm going to talk about the first thing that's happening, which is on the 25th, which was the penumbral, the lunar eclipse, right? But for Virgo, you're coming to a different understanding. You're coming to a different space. This is Jupiter's wisdom, Jupiter's expansion. Jupiter's going to get you there. Once you get through this door, it's all there. It's the bigger box. It's the bigger house. It's the bigger thing that is going to feel uncomfortable. It's not going to feel like it's not awful. It's like when you move into a new house. Now, some of y'all have not moved, like you've gotten to stay at your one house forever, right? I've moved all my life, right? So I know what that feels like to go into a new space and be like, well, it's my space, but I don't know it yet, right? That's the feeling that we're having. That's we're going into this new space that's not going to feel too comfortable, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't feel like it's yours yet, right? That's where we're going. That is Jupiter. Jupiter's here to expand that. Jupiter's here to give you the wisdom about the choices that you're making to leave a certain part of your identity. And I wouldn't say like leave it as in you're going to absolutely leave it. I would say in transmuting it, picking up another part of your identity, because we can't have, if you think about, this is going to go a little deep and I'm sorry. If you think about our whole self, we can't have our whole self in this body. We're taking fractal aspects, right? And so all you're doing is you're bringing in another aspect of you, which is a different you that's going to be going through this portal, because the old you is not. But it doesn't mean you've lost the old you. It just means you're focused on the new you. Does that make sense? So there's some wisdom here. There's some rebellion here. There is some revolution here. That's Uranus. That's Jupiter, right? So today, I'm sorry I went off on that tangent, but I would just want you to kind of grasp that today you may be feeling a lot of that. This is all highlighted. You see that, Virgo? For Libra, it's the same thing, only this is your seventh, this is your eighth, this is your ninth, this is your 10th. For you, Libra, it's the South Node is in your house, which means there's a part of you. And because you're so relationship focused, because that's part of what you came to do, it could be because the North Node is here in Aries, which is your opposite, right? It's like I'm trying to identify and understand me. But how do I do that, right? How do I do that? Well, your second house is not active. It doesn't mean there's nothing going on. It just means not active. It means that your higher self is like, look over here. Look at second, third, fourth, your fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, right? What are you trying to create? There are some things in your creation. Who am I? That's the fifth house. Who do I want to be? That's the fifth house. The first house is who am I? The fifth house is who do I want to be, right? So for you, Libra, it's Pluto. Pluto's like, you cannot fake it anymore. You can't fake it anymore. Okay? I'm gonna have to like take some I almost cursed. I'm gonna have to take some stuff down. You're gonna have to reorganize. You're gonna have to re-identify. You're gonna have to understand, right? Who are you? Who do you want to be? Who are you? And who do you want to be? Right? And I've already had the conversation with Mars and Venus, and I've had the conversation with Mercury, and I've had the conversation with the moon, and I've had the conversation with the sun, right? And we're having these conversations about who do you want to be? That's your Mars, that's your Venus, that's your Saturn. That's once you figure out, Libra, who do I want to be? Your fifth house. because Pluto's there. It's going to take everything away if it needs to, right? If you don't look at it, it will look at it for you. Okay, that's Pluto. That's why I'm doing the Pluto series, so that we're not so traumatized when Pluto does its thing, because we have been for lifetimes. Okay, once you do this, though, it's your sixth house. Who, now that I know, now that I'm trying to figure out who I want to be, I'm going to get to that point by doing my everyday thing, by restructuring Saturn, by reorganizing Saturn, by having taking accountability Saturn, by being mature about it Saturn. But I'm still going to create it. The Neptune and the Sun and Venus. I attract. But how do I do that? I'm going to attract. I'm going to have the energy, because Mars is coming in here too. Remember, Mars is having this conversation, but Mars is like, well, we can do it this way, we can do it that way. And it's different, it's eccentric, it's weird, because Mars is thinking through Aquarius, right? And so it's when it comes over here, it's going to feel better, Libra. It's going to feel better, right? But then that's your fifth, that's your sixth. Okay, I'm putting the action, I'm doing the everyday thing, but you're moving into the new space once you start getting this down. You're not, so for all of us, you're not going to figure it out right now, but I'm trying to get you to the direction that you know that you're going, right? So that we don't have the trauma, right? Once you get that, oh, okay, I'm going to start putting in this practice. Okay, these people are treating me wrong. This is who I am. Yes, I used to be that person that was a pushover, but now I'm not. Yes, I used to be that person that was really harsh, but now I'm a little softer. Like whatever this is, you're trying to recreate, trying to understand. And so I'm implementing, I'm putting these things in, because I'm moving into my relationship space, right? That's your relationship with others, the way that I want my relationships in my new house. I want these people around me. I don't want this around me. I don't need this person. I don't need this group. I don't need this lover. I don't need this blah blah blah. I don't like that's where your new space is going. Once you get there and they're through there, that's the solar eclipses that are happening, and then the lunar eclipses that are happening over the next 2 years. Once you get through this space, remember, then you're going to decide, or if you have a spouse, oh, we can get this. Or if you don't have a spouse, do I want a spouse? That's the eighth house. Do I want to buy a home? Do I want to get a loan? Do I want to, or did I get some inheritance? Am I going to decide to, I've been through 5 marriages, and I mean, I'm just picking something up. I've been through 5 marriages, and I don't even know if I want a sixth one. Do I even believe in marriage anymore? Like, that's what you're trying to decide, right? But there's wisdom and there's space. Jupiter, expansion, is putting you in the bigger box. It's not going to feel right. If you're going by feeling only, you're not going to get very far, because it's not for the next 6 months going to feel right for any of us. It's not going to feel like home. We're leaving our home, and for some reason, because I'm ex-military, right? We're leaving our comforts of our home and moving to a new home. Okay? That's what we're doing. It's not going to feel, it doesn't feel like I'm in danger, right? But it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal, because I'm moving into a new space. That's what's going on with you, Libra. Okay? And with Scorpio, same thing. Okay? Scorpio, you can't see what you got to let go of. You have to do this through, I'm not talking about the new stuff. I'm talking about what you're having to really grasp and understand. It's in your 12th house. You'll have to like look at the Pluto 12th house video that I did, because it really helps people understand the actual 12th house and what's going on. You're leaving something. You're leaving part of your identity, but where Libra gets to see it and feel it and see the actions of how this is going to go away or this needs to go away. Yours is more intuitive, okay? And I know I just said 5 minutes ago or 2 minutes ago, if you're just feeling, that's wrong. That doesn't apply completely to you. That's why I said yours is more intuition. Yours is going to come through your dreams. Yours is going to come through actions not by you. Okay? Yours is going to have actions done or being brought to you because it's the 12th house. But that doesn't mean that you have no control. That just means it's not like Libra where you can actually see it. It's going to come in a different way because it's your 12th house, but you're leaving a part of your identity and reforming it into this new space that you're going to, right? So this is your first, second, third, fourth. You're having to let go of the understanding of where you came from, why the things were done to you that they were done. I haven't done the Pluto in the fourth house because it's a deep one. It's a deep one. I had to take a break. So I'm going to be doing the Pluto in the fourth house probably, hopefully next week. Um, so Pluto in the fourth house for you, because it's in your fourth house, there are some understandings, there is some forgiveness, there are some, yeah, forgiveness of what you're having to let go of and understand. That doesn't mean you completely cut off of your family. That doesn't mean you do that. That just means you have an understanding. I am not like them, and I did nothing wrong to deserve the things that happened to me. Right? That's not for every Scorpio, but it kind of is because I haven't met a Scorpio that doesn't apply. But I know that there are Scorpios where it doesn't apply. So anyway, once you get through this, once you're understanding more about how you're the same and how you're different and how these things were done to you, that's Pluto. You have a 20-year cycle in this. You're not going to get it right away. And these feelings need to be transmuted, right? But then you're moving into your fifth house. Then you decide, like I said before, who do I want to be now that I understand I am not these people? Now that I understand I'm not this vile. Now that I understand I'm not this mean. Now that I understand I'm not this person. Now that I understand that I don't have to worry about constant pain. I can be in happiness and joy. Who do I want to be? That's Saturn, restructuring, understanding, Venus, giving you the courage and the boundaries to put these things into fruition so that those things can happen to you, right? But having the creativity with the sun and Neptune in there, right? Moving into your, like, I'm trying to figure out who do I want to be? I know who I am. I understand that part, but who do I want to be now that I understand that I'm different from this, right? And then you move into your seventh, which is where you're going. Sorry, it's not your seventh. One, two, three, four, five. Your sixth. Then you're going to move into, once you understand who do I want to be or how you're different or getting some relief here, you're like, okay, this is how I want my daily life to be. I'm going to choose to be happy every day. I'm going to choose not to overwork. I'm going to choose to have people around me that encourage me, that smile and laugh with me, that aren't always jealous, that, that's the seventh, that's, sorry, sixth house. That's the sixth house, right? That's where you're moving into. But there's something, a part of your identity here, that you're going to have to take off. Because remember, we never really lose it. Take off. And you're putting on a different aspect of your identity. Does that make sense? And then you're moving into your seventh house. Okay, now that I'm moving for the next 2 years and things are happening and destiny's happening and people show up and miracles happen, because that's what's going to be happening in the next 2 years for us, right? About me, because I've done me, because I understand, because I'm better, because I don't want the things that have happened to me. I don't want to keep this baggage. I don't want to keep carrying it with me my whole life. Now I'm free to really have the relationships. There's wisdom here. I'm free. I'm open. I'm free to have the relationships, free to have different relationships if I want, free to have the wisdom to understand when somebody is showing me love and they're not lying to me. And, all of that. You're moving into that. Does that make sense? Okay. Then for Sagittarius, same thing. It's different, but it's the same. I hope I'm getting it. So Sagittarius, there is something about the groups. There's something about the systems. There's something about the organization that you're having to let go of, understand better, figure out if that's what you want. That's the south node, right? That's the south node, Saji. Because where are you going? You're going into the, this is your first, second, newer, your newer skills, not your newer skills, your skills, the communication, the way that you say things and have people around you, the neighbors, the siblings, the, that is all needing to change for you. That is all needing to change for you because your groups are needing to change. There's something that you need to let go of, a system. Maybe you were like me and you were working in the healthcare field and you don't need to work there anymore, right? It didn't matter that I am, you know, it was close to 20 years. It doesn't matter. It's like time to go. Maybe it's psychology. You don't want to do that anymore. Maybe it's the banking system. You don't want to do that anymore. Maybe it's the government. You don't want to do that anymore. Maybe it's just as simple as a group that you have online that you don't want to do that anymore, right? Whatever this is, you're letting go of part of this because you're having to restructure this. This has been going on for lifetimes where there's pain and there's baggage for you, Sagittarius. And I know that you didn't want to look at it, but now that you understand, you've been through a lot of 4 years of I got to look at some stuff, right? That's your third house. If it's the people around you, it's the groups around you, it's the systems around you that you're trying to figure out, and there's going to be fear there, like, oh, I need the banking system, I need the government, I need, like, there's going to be fear around there, but you're moving to that because you're trying to understand, this is your fourth house, you're trying to restructure where you came from, how your identity has been tied to where you came from, and how it does not need to be, how you can appreciate where you came from, but are understanding a different way of yourself. That's your fourth house, right? Saturn is asking you to be mature about it. He's asking you to restructure it. He's asking you to really look at it, to implement those things that you want and don't want in your life, because you're going to be moving into the fifth house north node. You're leaving these groups and you're moving into this newer energy that you've never been in before, where you're trying to create, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? I can be anything. I don't have to be stuck over here. I'm learning that I don't have that, just because I come from this tribe, this DNA, doesn't make me them. It's different. I can be who I want, even though I have ties and connections to that. Does that make sense? That's where you're moving through. And over here, because this is your fifth, you're going to implement. There's going to be room in your life. There's wisdom here. It's going to be very different because it's Uranus. That's Aquarius, right? That's Pluto Aquarius. That's Uranus Aquarius. It's telling you that it's not going to look. And guess what? It's not supposed to, because you're the person in your DNA. Your family has said, before you came to this life, we're counting on you to make it different, right? So you're going to make it different over here. It's going to be very comfortable. It's going to look very nice, but it's not going to look like we had to do it. You're doing it. Does that make sense? Okay. Capricorn, same thing, right? So you've got the 10th house. So there's something about the reputation, about how you show up in the world, about, I mean, it can be about your career, but I hate to say that all the time because people just think the 10th house is the career. It's much more than that. You have to look at my 10th house Pluto. It's so much more than that. You're letting go of some of that. You're letting go of how people see you, how you interact, how you show up in the world. You're letting go of part of that. You're going to be putting on this new thing, right? And this is going to be in your second house. I'm sorry, where you're going is your third house, but your second house is you're letting go of, or it's going to be challenged, I'll say that, of how am I getting my resources? what is it that I actually value? Am I valuing myself? Right? Like you guys have come through a big Pluto thing, but now that has to do with I know who I am. You come through the 16 year of the Pluto, but now it's like I know who I am, or I think I know more of who I am. Now I need to know and try to understand just how I can take from nothing and pull up some resources that I have, not that everybody else have, not looking outside of the world, but looking within myself, my resources that I can pull from, my brain, my ideas, my gumption, my hard work, right? And really implement. That's what you're trying to understand, right? That's what you're trying to work with. And you're moving into, okay, what are my skills? This is your fourth house. That's Saturn. And that's Daddy Saturn. That's your ruler, right? You know how to work with Saturn. He's restriction. He's time. He's he wants you to be responsible. So he's saying, take the skills that you know. You have the resources within you. Take the skills that you know. Create something. Here's the sun and Neptune. Create from what you have. Create here because where you're going, that is your fourth. You are making, and this is such a Capricorn thing that a lot of Capricorns don't say. You are making new DNA to your lineage. Does that make sense? Like you are showing the way. You're going to say, okay, this is where I've come from and this is how I'm going to work it. That's the fourth house for you. Like the fourth house, is also, um, it has to do with understanding, oh, I came from here and this is who I am. And so that's what you're going to be moving through, saying, oh, because my lineage has this, I have the gumption, I have the tenacity, I have the thing, and I'm making this work this way. Does that make sense, Capricorn? But it has to come from you, from your resources, and it's tied to your DNA because where you're going is then you understand there is wisdom and it's going to be in a very different way. Uranus with Pluto. There is wisdom in space in here. You're going to the new house, and the new house is about the fifth house, right? What do now that I understand where I come from, now that I understand that I have the gumption and I have the resources within me, what do I want to be? That makes sense? What do I want to be? So, um, then we have Aquarius, okay? If Aquarius, this is in your ninth house. You're having to let go of the way that you believed of something. And I know, Mr. Aquarius ideology, when I get something in my head, I'm not going to change that crap, right? But you're having to understand that there is a belief and an understanding and some, maybe even that knowledge, some sort of knowledge that you came to believe, or ideology that you came to believe is like you thought it was the truth and you're seeing it in a very different way. So you're letting go of that idea. You're letting go of that belief system. You're letting go. That is the South Node. You're releasing that understanding. You're releasing that ideology. You're releasing that belief system, right? Because where you're going, right, is, I mean, this is Pluto, your first house. I told you you're going to have an identity crisis over the next 20 years. Now, that identity crisis can last 6 months. It can last 5 years. It can last 20. That's kind of up to you, Aquarius. Are you going to be stubborn about it, or are you just going to really look at it, right? So, where you're going is you're having to put the work in. You're having to reevaluate. You're having to restructure um, your value in yourself, the way that you make your money, the creation that you're trying to create, right? Like, what are you going to be attracting? What work are you going to be putting in? Like, moving into this new skill, but it's not a new skill like, oh, it's brand new. I don't like. It's not moving from like lawyer to be a doctor. It's like oh, I'm a doctor, now I'm going to move into research. I'm going to do it in a very different way. But it's the things that I've already know. It's the resources within. You're putting those into practice right now because you're moving into restructuring, understanding, and redoing your skills, right? Um, because you're headed over here to your fourth house, to your understanding of remember, there's room here, there's space here, there's um, and it's Uranus. So there's wisdom, but it's very different. Your ideology is going to be very different in understanding that just because you have that connection, yeah, this is a little bit bigger, but just because you have that connection to the DNA, that doesn't hold you back. That actually gives you more of the skill of where you came from. So knowing where you came from, understanding how that can help, you're going to be moving into this space where you're like Capricorn and you're making the DNA. You're from the point of where you're here in this life and then beyond you, that's what you're preparing. So that your DNA is actually restructured. If you came from nothing, or you came from where your great grandparents and grandparents, your DNA, all they did was suffer and have pain and neglect and all of that. You don't have to do that. This is bigger. This is more space. And you're getting it from understanding the skills, understanding the resources, and moving into this new space of influence. Is that sense? I mean, it's bigger than that, but that's kind of what's going on. Then we have Pisces, right? So Pisces, this is going to be in your eighth house, right? So you already have a lot of things going on in your first house. Your second house is really activated too, and you've got Pluto there, so you're getting downward. You're getting understanding. You when you meditate or when you're sleeping, right? Your 12th house is activated. So you're probably going back and forth. Sometimes you're confused. I want to do this, but I want to do that. But you're, let's say, 12, 11, 8. So this is, like, you're letting go. You're having to let go of what you thought was solid. And the only example I can give you right now is like, okay, I had a loan. Okay, I had a loan with my spouse. Now we're divorcing and we're having to resolve that loan. Like something like that. It's like you're having to let go of a particular system that you were in, a particular contract that you were in, and you're having to move it in a very different way. But where you're moving to, because you're having to let that go, you're having to let go of, for some of you, I feel like it's the fight too. So like you fought for this thing for so long, and you're either it's going to be over, or you're going to decide to let that go. Right? And it's bigger than that, but I don't want to get too deep because I was going to do the lunar, but it just seems like I'm channeling something. Anyway, so right now you're restructuring. You're trying to attract what you want. You're trying to create and understand, right? Because where you're going to is your resources. Who am I? I am no longer with the eighth house, having to rely on other people, whether that's the banking system, whether that's a loan, whether that's your spouse, whether that's other people, whatever this is. I no longer am going to rely on other people and these bonds that they have, almost like slavery bonds, almost like, they have me, like, I gotta, like, pay so much extra money, or I gotta do so much extra things because I have these contracts. You're moving to a space where you're understanding your resource. And this is not gonna be easy, Pisces. Like, money usually comes easy to you guys, but this is not gonna come easy. you're having to move into a space, and this can be hard, or this can be easy if you understand this. You've always had the resources yourself. It's always been within you. You've got to pull those out going into this new space. Pull those out because there is wisdom here, but it's something that you've never done before, never seen in that way before. That's rawness, right? You're moving to understanding what your resources are, believing in yourself, honoring your value, and moving to your scale. Does that make sense? That's not an easy thing. It can be if you understand it, though. That's why you're putting in the hard work right now. The structure, the restructure, the maturity, the responsibility. I'm going to take responsibility this time. I know I didn't do wrong, but I did have a part of that, right? That's Venus. That's Father time. That's the Saturn, right? I'm going to create something, but I need to understand my resources. I need to believe in myself, right? Does that make sense? Okay, and then Aries, we're moving through you. Like, you're moving through this new space of you, right? It's coming from your 12th house is activated, but your 7th house, you're needing to release something. You're needing to release something in others, in the way that you have relationships, in the way that you see people, in the way that you handle people, in the way that they handle you, in the boundaries that you both have. Like, you're needing to let go of that because you need to understand your value. This is a new space, but you got to do it through you. Okay? Like, I got to do me and let go of these, the way that they treat me, the way that they do it, the way that I have people around me. Yes, I haven't always been honest with people, so I have people around me that aren't honest. Yes, I always haven't been upright with people, so I have people around me that aren't upright, right? So you're having to let go of that and do you for the first time in your life, like really do you, so that you can, remember, Jupiter, space, you're going to the new house, you're going through this new vibration. It's going to look very different, you're honest, right? But it's going to be comfortable for everybody. It's going to get to a comfortable place in the next 2 years. There's going to be fear. That's Pluto. We're going to have some things happen in the society that y'all are going to freak out, okay? But don't freak out. That's why I'm here. The last time we had the pandemic, right? That was, honestly, that was a dry run. That's the big thing, okay? And I told y'all I'm not going to hold anything back, but if that just came out, that just came out, okay? But what I don't want y'all to do is fear. And that's why I'm breaking it. Because you don't need to fear. You don't need to fear. We've been through a lot. Okay, that's all I'll say about that right now. Anyway, it's going to be comfortable. You're going to be comfortable. It's going to be comfortable. But you have to do you, Aries, okay? So, then we're going to move into Taurus. Taurus, you're going through this new space of you, of understanding you. But you can't see exactly where you're going. You just have to, like, because you're really good at having luxury around you, wanting comforts around you, that's what you're going to have to feel out, right? You're restructuring your group, your system, your understanding about how you want to be in the system, if you want to be in the system, right? But your 10th house also is being challenged because it's got Pluto in there. So your reputation, your career, the way that you make your money, like that all has changed, right? And it's going to continue to change because of where you're going. You're moving into this space where you're not going to see it at first. And you're going to see it in the way that you don't take the action. It's already taken for you, right? But what happens is you come to this understanding of who you really are and that you really are different. And that is okay, right? There's wisdom here. There's luck here. You have lots of luck here. Does that make sense? Thank you. Okay. And then we have Gemini, right? Gemini, your 12th house is activated. So luck is coming to you like nobody's business. You've got wisdom in there. You're moving into your, remember the space that you're moving? You're moving into a different system, a different group, a different understanding. That's the 11th house, right? When it goes through, it's going to move into your 12th house where you've got a lot of luck, a lot of expansion about you. Like right now, you've been working hard. That's your 10th house. That's where I'm trying not to move that my microphone. This is your 10th house. This is Saturn's been really making you restructure, really making you work hard, really making you for your reputation, really making you um you're getting the accolades, and you're getting, and you should real soon too, because we got Venus in there, but you're having to work really hard, and there's some boundaries that are being crossed. You may not see it or notice it yet, maybe you have, but you're having to like stand up for yourself, do for yourself, implement who you are and how you want to show up in the world, right? Because where you're moving to is your 11th, your groups. What system do I want to be in? What groups of people do I want around me? Um, what systems do I want to work with? What groups do I want to work with? What people do I want to have around me? How do I want my life in that way? Does that make sense? And then it's going to be moving into your 12th house. Once we get through that right here, this is your 11th house. This is the groups. This is the system. It's not belief systems like the ninth house. It's the systems like a banking system, a government system, a healthcare system, a school system, a library, whatever, these systems. Like, do I believe in this? Do I want to work with this? Do I, because of who you are, because of the things that you're doing here, this is going to be moving you into the space. Maybe it's that you get a bigger position that puts you into this space of a system, right? Um, but once you get through there, you're going into this space of the 12th house. It's bigger, um, more notoriety, but there could be challenges where you're going to get a little confused once you go through there. To me, it's like I feel a little fearful, but I think that's you, Gemini. So it's expansion, it's understanding, it's oh, here it is. Okay. I feel like once you get through here, you really start believing in yourself more. Does that make sense? Okay. And then we have Cancer. So Cancer, this is going to be happening with, I'm sorry, Gemini. Let me go back to Gemini. I'm sorry. Did I say where this was going to be? Right? So Gemini, this is your first, second, third, fourth, your fifth, which is why I was getting this on 12. Okay. Your fifth, what you're letting go of is who I thought I was and who I'm trying to decide I'm going to be, right? That's your fifth house, right? And you're moving into the space of this is who I am with groups, with the people around me. I'm changing my identity. Does that make better sense? And that's why you're moving into the 12th house with the bigger understanding, the better things that are coming. People not going over your boundaries anymore. Does that make sense? Okay. Then Cancer, what you're letting go of, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, your DNA, where you came from, the understanding of I'm not so, I don't know why I'm getting this. Like, I'm not so rotten, or I'm not a bad person just because I came from this, or I'm not less of a person just because I came from this, right? That's what you've been working on this, and you're sort of letting go of part of that, of your understanding of just because you came from this particular, I won't say group, lineage, tribe, DNA, family, just because that's who you come from does not mean that is who you are. And that's what you're like leaving. That's what that's what you're letting go of, because where you're going into this new space, right? That is your 11th house, right? I'm sorry, your 10th house. So right here. This is your 12th, 11th, 10th. So who do I want to be? That's what you're creating. That's what you've been creating. Who do I want to be? Moving into how people see me. That's the space that you're moving into. How are people seeing me? How am I showing up in the world? What is my reputation? When people say my name, what do they think of? Right? Once you get through this, you're going to be moving into the 11th house. Once you understand this is how people see me, how am I showing up in the world? Am I getting the accolades? Am I getting the recognition? Am I getting the kudos? Right? And wherever it is that you're getting that, and wherever it is that you're getting the accolades, those are going to become your groups. That's a bigger group, bigger understanding. Wisdom is here. Oh, I love working with these groups. I can be the leader of these groups. It's going to look very different. It's Uranus. Does that make sense? Cancer? And then we have Leo. Leo, this is in your third house. You're letting go of a skill that you had, maybe even some siblings in the way. Yeah, could be like some understanding and then just sort of release of, okay, that's my sibling or was my sibling, but I'm not claiming that sibling anymore. That's weird, but you know what I mean? Like a different understanding and finally letting go of that part of you that's been hurt, that you hurt, that they hurt. It's like a different understanding. That makes sense. But it's also your skills. It's also you're letting go of what you once did and who you once were through those skills because you identified yourself through those skills. Does that make sense? And you're moving into, this is your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Your seventh, eighth, and ninth is all intent, is all lit up. How am I going to show up in the world? How is my reputation going to be? Right? But this is because this is your third, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. There's something about relationships that are really changing for you, and they're going to be changing in the next 20 years. How are you doing relationships? Is it, are there the boundaries that you need there to be? Are you doing right by the relationships, and are the relationships doing right by you? And this is both love and business partnerships and other than that, because you're having to restructure right now. It looks like that's your eighth house. That's the contracts. Okay, I had this contract. I'm doing this thing. I'm having to restructure. This is the way I want it. This loan is being forgiven. This da 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 da. Like in my marriage, I'm having to restructure that because he wasn't always doing right by me or she wasn't always doing right by me, and I'm having to redo this whole thing, right? Because where you're moving is the understanding, the belief system. You're moving into your ninth house, right? You're letting go of the skills or the way that you did things, and this could be family, your siblings as well, and moving into a bigger understanding, a bigger belief, a different belief, a different understanding of, yes, I do come first because that's me, that's Aries, right? Yes, I do come first, but I can honor other people and not put myself aside to get hurt. Does that make sense? It's much more than that, but that's sort of the surface stuff I'm giving you, right? And then because when you come to this big understanding, because you've been working on your relationships and your contracts and all of that, your partnerships, right? And you come to this big understanding, that's your 10th house. You're going to show up in a very different way. Your reputation is going to look you're going to look very, very different to the world. You're going to show up very, very different to the world. That's Uranus. But it's bigger, it's better. There's wisdom, there's understanding. Does that make sense, Leo? And then I think, I did Virgo first. So that was it. That's all 12. So let me pull a card for every sign. I know that this has been long, but I was kind of channeling. So that's the thing about daily horoscopes. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm trying not to be the Virgo South Node. I'm trying to not to structure it every day, even though it's a little structured. See, I'm working with my Virgo South Node. I'm structuring a little bit, is as in we have horoscopes every day, but I'm working within that and not structuring. Okay, I'm channeling whatever happens. Does that make sense? Let's just give you a little insight into me. Hey, you guys, if you can tap the screen and let me know if you're there, let me know what's going on. I know I talked a lot, but as I'm shuffling the cards, if you can let me know. Tapping the screen helps me out too. Again, this is gonna, for the next 30 days, I'm looking. Ooh, these cards are so slippery. For the next 30 days, I'm going to see, does everybody like the horoscopes? Is it okay to do this? Should I spend every day doing this? So I'm trying to see if I'm going to incorporate this into the practice. I was just looking at the daily horoscopes from years and years ago, and they're still up. It's so funny. So, Rebecca, hi. So anyway, tapping, helping, all of that, getting it out lets me know, okay, is it worth us doing this? Remember, rather than do this different than we did last time. And this is getting me back into tarot the way I want it. Remember I told you guys. Okay. And I think what I might do is I might go off because I have something to do. So I might go off of here and then come back in another hour or so to do the starting to channel again. Sorry. They start talking and then I start channeling. To do the lunar eclipse. Sorry. It's because I'm already really, really open because I've been channeling. So I look up and they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Start listening. I know that sounds weird, but it is what it is. Okay. Oh my God, these cards. So slippery. Plus, I have to heat my coffee up. Okay, here we go. So, we started with Virgo. I did do Virgo, right, Kathy? Because you're Virgo. I don't know why. It's weird that I did Virgo first. Anyway, I guess because I knew you were happening. I didn't know you were there, but I guess my higher self knew you were there. They're like, do Virgo first. Okay, here we go. Here's your card. Okay, you got the Page of Wands. So, the Page of Wands today. And again, so for those of you that don't know me, that are going to see this later, I may say today, but energy does not stop and start. Okay, it could be tomorrow. It could have been yesterday. It's not like exact, right? Timing can be off by the choices that we make. Okay, but this is close, so it could be in 2 days. But whatever it is, the energy's here. Okay, so Page of Wands. The Page of Wands tells me that you have some good news. Something's happening. If you've been waiting for money, that may come through, Kathy. Or if you've been waiting to make some money or waiting to see if this thing was going to come through to make money, that's what I'm feeling like. That's going to come through. But it's not just, yeah. So, yeah, when I feel that, I feel like this opportunity or this thing that you kind of already know about, but maybe you didn't pay attention to it because you were like, I'm not going to try to force it. Whatever this is, you have something coming through and it's the page. So it's news. Like you might not get the actual money today, but it's news that you're going to get this thing or this opportunity. Or if it's love, it's this person contacting you. Does that make sense? Okay. Libra. Libra, you're being the hermit. And I'm hearing like that's a good thing. So you need to relax. That reminds me, we didn't do the Vegas nerve. We need to do the Vegas nerve. Thank you for reminding me, Libra. There is something that you're wanting to understand. And I feel like if you calm down and you meditate, and meditate does not mean you have to like sit there and go, oh, like go work out or go for a walk or go get in a bath or go do something that's going to like make you center yourself. The answer is trying to come through to you, Libra, whatever this is. I think it's a way that you have to do something, but that's going to get some clarity if you relax and center yourself. Okay? Um okay, Scorpio. Ooh, Scorpio, you have the Knight of Cups. So, you have an offering, an opportunity, a gift that you're really going to like. I feel like somebody's going to hand you, I know this is symbolism, but I feel like somebody's going to hand you love. Does that make sense, Scorpio? And I almost feel like it's your family or a good friend or something that you didn't expect, but they hand you. I mean, I know it's not like, because love is an actual thing. Like it's something, they hand you something or they give you something and you interpret that as, oh, they love me. Okay. That's what I'm getting. So congratulations. When Scorpio has this very sweet, loving, and I know sweet does not usually come when you think of Scorpio, but they are. I know. I have very deep Scorpios in my life that I love, 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 love. Y'all know my cousin Norma, she's one of them. But they have this very sweet, I don't know, when they pour their love, it's very sweet and outpouring. That's what I feel like you received today. Like you're like, oh, okay, does that make sense? Um, okay. So Sagittarius. Wow, all y'all are getting offers and stuff. Okay, Sagittarius, you have the Knight of Pentacles. You do have money or something physical coming to you, an opportunity, an offer, a gift, money, a way to make money. I feel like for somebody, it's just something handed to you that is physical. So you get a gift today. Um, see if I can see something else. I'm seeing how the horse is like right by the water and it's wanting to cross, but the bridge is over there, so it doesn't have a way. And with this pentacle, with this gift, it's a way for you to like bridge what you're trying to get to. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. Okay. Then we have Capricorn. Four of Swords. Okay, Cappy. Four of Swords. Whatever this is that you've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to try to break through, relax. I need you to relax. Remember, I told you guys, you're not trying to do it in a very physical way. Like, I'll give you the example. Some people think of, okay, manifesting means I'm going to think about it and then I'm going to go get 3 jobs so that I can get it. Okay, that's how you work manifestation. That's an earth way to work manifestation. That may be what you've been trying to do with whatever situation is. Like, oh, I'm just going to go do extra work to get this done. No, you need to relax and let things happen. You need to relax and let your wisdom do its thing. I don't know how to say this. You need to relax and let the universe, Mother Earth, other people show you that you can have this thing happen after you've done all you can, and let miracles happen to you. Let this thing come to you. So you have wisdom enough to know, you have these experiences to know that you can draw from them, the swords, whenever you need them. But whatever this is, you've already done enough. You just need to relax and let it happen. Okay, does that make sense? That was Capricorn, right? Virgo, Libra, Capricorn. Okay, Aquarius. Oh, disappoint me, Aquarius. You have the 5 of Cups. Oh, Aquarius, you have the 5 of Cups. Why do we have the 5 of Cups? Why are we looking at what we don't have instead of looking at what we do have? Okay. Why are we needing an attitude adjustment? Are we needing to remember you are looking at things? Let me move this light a little. Sorry. You have the Five of Cups. Quit dwelling on the fact that it hasn't happened yet. Quit dwelling on that. And I don't feel like you're dwelling on it right now, but I feel like you can dwell on it if you look at it, right? So I need you to stop looking at what you don't have and pull from within your resources. Keep doing what you're doing. What I'm hearing really big, do not overthink this. Keep doing what you're doing. You're taking enough action that these things are going to come about, but keep doing what you're doing. And just because it didn't show up last Thursday does not mean it's not going to show up. Just keep doing what you're doing. Okay, does that make sense? All right, Aqua, I'll leave you alone. You know I love you. Okay, Pisces, you have the Star card, which is the Aquarius card. So, Pisces, you know, for me, I think of the Star card as you're getting a gift for I feel like y'all in the last like 8 months, 6 months have had really, your eyes have been open to some things that you, because usually things go your way and they haven't. And I feel like for a while, you're starting to feel down on yourself because, how do I say this? It's almost like if you were to tell an Aries that they're doing bad, they're like, whatever, I don't care. And you can keep telling the Aries that no, don't do it that way. No, don't do it. And they're like, I don't care, I'm gonna do whatever. Like, you can keep telling the Aries that they're doing badly and they don't care. It's not gonna like put them into a depression, where you can tell a Pisces a couple of times and it's going to put them into a depression because they can't handle it. But Aries can't, right? And so that's what I feel like. I feel like you got wounded and you're not depressed, but you're in a sadder space and kind of moving into like, should I do it? Should I not do it? I don't know what to do. Da, da, da. I don't want that to happen again, kind of thing. And I feel like because you've been doing right by yourself, because you've been being honorable and doing the things that you actually wanted to do with integrity this time, I feel like you're going to get a gift. Does that make sense? Bye, Kathy. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay. So you have a gift coming. You have love being poured into you. You have a way today of the universe knowing or showing you that you are loved, that you are wanted, that you are needed. Does that make sense, Pisces? Okay. Then Aries. In Aries, I'm sorry I used you, but because I love you, Aries, you're like, yeah, whatever. I do what I want. And that's good. Aries, you have the Six of Wands. Okay. So you have some accolades coming. You have some recognition coming. For some of you, it is that project that you wanted, or that raise that you wanted, or that's coming this week. I don't feel like, some of you, I feel like it's not actually going to happen today, but it's the energy for this week. But whatever this is, you get the recognition. You have people looking at you. For those of you that don't get anything but are about to, like, you have people looking at you and what you're doing, and you're doing a great job. So keep doing you. You keep doing you, Aries. Taurus. Taurus, you are leveling up. You got the Eight of Wands. So this may feel comfortable for like an air sign, but for Taurus, it doesn't feel really comfortable. But it can. Just know that things are starting to move fast. Opportunities are coming through. All of it is a yes. You get to choose what you want. It's more like, no, you haven't been in this energy before. You've been somewhat sort of in this energy when things were going and moving like about 5 years ago. But this is a different energy. This is like, oh, I can do this. Like, yeah, I am going to dinner. I am that thing did come through. I did get that raise. Like that, I am going to get that house. Like, things are coming through for you guys. Okay, so congratulations. And then Gemini. That's very interesting, Gemini. I don't really have upside down cards, and that Chariot's upside down. So I feel like today you're going to see the way to make the choice that you need to sort of like head it in the direction that you want. So you're going to get the opportunity to make the choice of whatever this is. Now, for you guys, that 10th house, the 11th house, ninth house is all like activated, right? So it would, to me, say that it's something out in the world. It's maybe your career. It's maybe the way that the family sees you. Whatever this is, it's like you're finally making the decision to take the direction that you want to make. So congratulations. And then Cancer, I feel this is another. I got this upside down. So the Nine of Cups upside down, Cancer. I do feel like you're more practical today. I feel like, yes, I got the respite and the meditation and whatever it was yesterday, and I feel more practical, and I feel like my emotions are in place and I can see and make the right choices and do what I need to today. Okay. So I feel like emotionally you're balanced. I feel like you're going to do the right things by you. And I do feel like you're getting more courage for whatever this thing that's coming up about. Okay. And last but not least, Leo. Leo, you have the sun, and that one's upside down. So these last three were upside down, which is interesting. Lovely to see you so often. Thanks, Cindy. You're welcome, Rebecca. Okay, so Leo, you have the sun and it's reversed. So I feel like whatever happens today, you're immediately going to want to have your ego like not balanced. Like that ego is going to be really big or that ego is going to be not at all. Like I see it both ways. Some Leos, you're going to have an ego really big and lash out and not need to. And others, you're going to get taken advantage of when you need to stand up. So I do need you to rebalance that. I do need you to remember you're working on your delivery, your communication, the way that you say things to people around you. Yes, they may have hurt you. Yes, they may go over a boundary, but there's a way to communicate this. And whatever this is, if somebody's taking advantage of you, take a stand. It's time. And I see this the other way too. If somebody's taking advantage of you, taking a stand does not mean you have to lash out either. I need this to be balanced. I need you to be more mature. I need you to communicate better. Does that make sense? So you can get this to turn up right side up. Because whatever this is, once you do this correctly, things are going to open up for you. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I will come back on here and do the lunar eclipse. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.